bit and have his
Solendra's
pinhead.
the only
I
healthy
zoomed
one here
out
today.
all kinds, but Solyndra just does not sit still. All right, well, hello. We are live, and hopefully this thing is working. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
All 5 of you. So there are fewer people that Twitch is registering as viewing us than are actually in this game. Well, that are in this game if we had the whole group. But I see Michael in chat, so I know that something is fishy. But that's fine, because Twitch is historically terrible about giving me accurate numbers. I don't know if that's a Twitch thing or if that's
How many of the viewers are us?
Well, I know. Well, Aten, Michael Wayne, Navudi, Raindust Plays, and Shakespeare, and then me. One of you has betrayed me. Anyway.
I'm on a different account right now.
Oh, snap. Regardless, see, and then there's Pentex45, which is clearly a White Wolf. So that
because I'm on my husband's computer.
And your husband played a lot of werewolf, apparently.
Oh, did he?
Pentex is an evil corporation in the world of darkness. That works for, they're agents of the worm.
Alternatively, it's the screen name he made when he was 8 and he moved from Pennsylvania to Texas.
That's also possible, and probably more likely.
That's adorable.
But if you
idea.
Play enough RPGs, everything's a reference.
I like the idea that he is very specifically a secret agent, and that's what he told you.
You know? I wouldn't be very surprised. Shakes.
I've met him. That could work. That could happen.
Yeah. That flies.
So there are some things I'm supposed to say here at the top. I just want to point out that, hi, my name is Zed. This here is Dark Knights in District 10. This is a D&D 5e game set in Ravnica. And for timeline purposes, if you're trying to figure out when in Ravnica, the answer is just before everything went all spoopy. What that means...
Good to know.
Exactly. If you're a fan of Magic, you'll understand probably. And if you're not a fan of Magic, why are you here? Just because you like us? Just because you love my face? I mean, all of it's fine. And thank you, Raindust, by the way, for getting in on the whole worm thing. And appreciating and understanding what it is that we're trying to talk about.
Zed, why are you in space?
I live here. Technically, we all live here.
I mean, no, you're in the void. You weren't in the void before. Why are you in a void?
He is the Void Master.
You were asleep when he put up the void.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You slept through that.
There are still cats in the void, right?
I've actually kicked them out because one of them peed on the carpet and I'm mad at them now. Although the orange one is capable of hopping the wall. I can't do anything about him. But he's also not the one who causes the problems. I forgot to take my brain pills, which I'm going to take real fast. You're all going to watch me take drugs on screen. Ooh.
Spoopy.
Ooh, illicit.
Mental
It's hard to
health
clean
is
out
just as
carpeting
valid
in the
and
void.
real as physical health. Take your medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, see, mine come in little pouches that have the date and time that you're supposed to take them. And so I don't forget.
That's easy mode.
It super is. But it also prevents me from doing things like accidentally double dosing, which I've done. Or being afraid of accidentally double dosing and then taking nothing and then getting to deal with withdrawal.
I've done that so many times.
Yeah, so it's much better this way. Those little pill popper, like with the days of the week, those only work if you remember to fill them up. I'll fill it up the moment I buy it, and then I'll forget ever after. Anywho, we also have some sponsors to say hello to and thank you to. So very much thank you to Rue Inc., Devin Rue, the mistress of maps, mapping of mistresses. No, wait, no, never mind. The mistress of maps. We'll just stop there. Devin Rue, thank you very much for being our longest and most asbestos supporter. Cool Stuff Inc., because, they ink some cool stuff. So Nerdwear, it is what the nerds wear. And, of course, Roll20, which is the system that makes everything magical and possible. And I just resubscribed with my Prime subscription, which is something that I'd like to point out that you can do too. Or if you would rather, you can support us more directly by going to our Patreon. You should also... Ooh, wait, I'm going to share my 8th month sub anniversary. How do I share my... and share my... Yes. Boop. Haha. Yeah. See? And you'll hear a little noise when you've been subbing for a little while. So, if you would like to join our Discord, boop, 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 then please click on the link there, and you can get involved with our thriving and amazing and lovely community. Or if you would like to help us out on our Patreon, then you can click the link there, or actually, wait, I think it's like that. Yeah, it's definitely like that. And although, actually, wait, hang on. If I do this, then I need Enfield and Dwyer to also do that, or else I'm just pointing at Enfield and the love is stopping. How we doing? Nope. Dwyer, other way. Yeah! There we go. All right, so that way, that's where the love is. So please clicky to linky to hit us up on our Patreon and to help support the production of all these various games that we make and enjoy. We have an awful lot of sweet deals and bennies for our subscribers. I am personally the editor-in-chief of our writing project, which is undergoing some changes right now, but still putting out some pretty cool stuff. And there are a lot of other things as well, interviews and podcasts and all sorts of cool crap. So check out our Discord, check out our Patreon, and in general, just we love you, and we hope you like us. Do you like us? Do you love us? Do you love us? Anyway, I apologize.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Hi. How's it going?
Shakes, can Enfield just communicate in Post-it notes for the rest of the game?
No.
Oh, I wish.
I mean, on the one hand, that's lovely. On the other hand, I like Enfield's deadpan wit.
Yeah. No. The post-it note is just because it was hurting my hand to try and keep making the heart hand so hot.
Head.
Yeah, heart head. There you go.
In many ways, this is the most British character I think I've ever seen Shakespeare play. Polite, calm, witty.
Have you ever been to England?
Subtly biting.
Yeah, no, you're not describing the English.
No?
You sound like you're describing the French more than anything.
Really? Okay. Well, then this is the most French.
The English are more likely to headbutt you.
I mean, I understand like the concept of soccer hooligans and whatnot, but
yeah, Scottish, Irish, Welsh. Actually, everyone in the British Isles is probably going to headbutt you.
Yes, but it depends on what drink they buy you afterwards. That's the indicator of where they're from.
And what colourful language they use to refer to you affectionately.
I got no headbutts.
Well, I've got a very soft head. It would have broken like an egg.
All it means is that you didn't Britain correctly and you need to do it again.
Okay.
I walked you around telling you which buildings were older than your country. I laughed at your jaywalking worries. I did everything right.
But you didn't headbutt me.
Jaywalking. That's a thing you have. It's hilarious.
It is.
Yeah, and I'll get arrested or shot. I live in Texas.
Okay, less funny now.
It
was funny while you were safe with me, in the motherland. Oh no, can't laugh, too tired.
Oh. And now we have a new goal, and that's to make Shake squeak. To be fair, that's always the goal. So, let's talk a little bit about last game. I believe, Cubit, since you were not with us last game, that you watched your way through it just recently. Would you like to catch us up?
So the only problem with that is that the way that I watched it was I watched the last 10 minutes, then the 10 minutes before that, then the 10 minutes before that, because I wasn't sure how much of it I'd get to watch. So I was like, well, probably the important stuff's at the end. So chronologically, I'm all messed up.
Okay. So
but I can't tell you things that happen.
So how about this? Why don't you tell us some things that occurred, and then we'll depend on Selendra, our much more awake person, to help us out.
Perfect. So, probably closest to when we last left off, the gang was all in a bar run by a devil in leather pants.
True.
Okay. Selendra gambled on a very interesting game where you have to kind of try to stab your own fingers, but not stab your own fingers. And she did very well, but didn't quite make it. Stabbed herself in the pinky. They then all make their way to the bar to talk to... Ooh, it wasn't... Chip, not Chip. Dang it, Click.
Click.
Click? Clack?
I think it was Click.
Click. Perfect. Okay. To talk to Click, who was a goblin that gave moderately good information, but mostly connected us to another source that had good information. And there, Selendra started out drinking lemonade and somehow made her way to poison, which she wants to drink again, and Granny wants to save up to buy a whole bottle of poison. I worry for this team. Okay, so now,
open.
Backwards.
I was fine.
Yeah, you took a crochet hook.
Yeah.
And played this, and you were not understanding
slowly
why it was
and
fun.
carefully.
As it should
all
be done.
good fun is had.
Yes, as all good fun is had. Slowly and carefully. Selendra.
Question then. Since Enfield is a robot, would it be cheating?
That presumes...
How is it cheating? I still get damaged. You saw me nearly get bitten in half.
And Enfield is not like Data. Enfield is not like preternaturally much of anything. Beyond, sentient, which is pretty great all on its own.
No, this is just Selendra going, wait, we can make bets.
No.
We have a robot. We have the technology.
No, I have a robot, being that I am a robot. You have a colleague who will say no.
All right. Selendra, why were you guys in the bar? You were there to talk to Click. What about?
The goblin thing that was controlling the grease elemental that was burning all their houses because he was the leader, and thus he should have known which one of the goblins were of his clan and which ones weren't.
Accurate.
I really wanted it to turn into a detective noir talking to the mob boss kind of scene, and it just turned into us drinking poison.
I gave you guys the opportunity for that, and then it was made clear pretty quickly that was not what the group was there for.
Granny had a good run, though. I was really impressed.
Absolutely. On multiple occasions, I have set the scene for you guys to go like 1920s, like pulpy sci-fi, or to go for like some 30s, 40s noir. And typically, as with most D&D games, we end up more in the Brooklyn Nine-Nine or Monty Python category.
Yeah, you start to hear Benny Hill music.
Yeah.
Good references. Good references.
Hey. Inspiration to anyone who can name the name of that song.
What song?
The Benny Hill.
Oh, wait, I did know it.
Oh.
We used it in a performance. Oh.
Don't ask me. I'm not
Yakety
getting...
sax.
Yay! Shakespeare
Yakety
gets inspiration. It is, in fact, called Yakety Sax. Now you know what to look up on YouTube when you want to play it for yourself when you've had a pretty crazy day.
Oh,
Yes.
I remember one really important thing.
Yes.
We go to the Boros house and ask for Tavrik. We get free drinks.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that, actually.
And also, I exposed myself to get a writ of research.
You did. That's true. You exposed the inner workings behind your chest plate to get a writ of research that would allow you, when you go to the Is it League main?
The hall of something or the something hall?
It's their actual guild hall. To take a look at, what is it that you needed to look up again?
Yep, it was definitely something that we went there to ask about.
Notes. Where are my
Was it the
notes?
goo? Was it the goo? It was the goo. It was the goo.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was proprietary.
Yes. So
Academy.
the person you were talking to wasn't able to give you any details on it because he didn't have the clearance.
That's it. The building. That's what it was.
Yes.
It's the academy.
So if you would like, and then what was I think beyond that, the primary thing to keep in mind is, what was the sweet thing you guys got that you took like
We
an
got a
hour?
magical paddy wagon.
Yeah,
We
you
got a
did.
car.
And I know the combination to lock it and unlock it.
And they pushed all the buttons.
No, you wouldn't
No,
let
no,
us.
no.
I wasn't
Not
there.
they. Not they. They.
Shakes kept picking me up. So I couldn't push buttons.
I
So
am they.
we are unfortunately minus Angrak. Moogs is not feeling so hot. So as you guys are chilling in the bar and learning and doing your thing, at some point Angrak will just say to you, "I have received a call," and then he will get up and he will leave and he will go, and you don't know where he's gone. He just went to Angrak land.
That was an A+ on Grok accent.
Inspiration to you.
Oh, hey, thanks.
No! This is how we die.
Yay! So Angrak heads out. You guys can stay in the bar for as long as you like. If you desperately want to roleplay more in the bar, you can. But otherwise, I will say, for purposes of plot, there's nothing else significant that will happen there. So you can fuck around all you like, but you're not going to get, there will be no plot advancement.
That's good, because I know I was supposed to think of questions, but I could not think of questions.
Oh, yeah. You guys were supposed to think of your click questions for the lawyer.
Downtime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
our
didn't really
Swiss
see
cheese
any.
brains did not do that.
Okay. Well, so we can simply sort of kind of cap that off for now, with Click's representative saying, "Well, I will be available here between the hours of 9 and 3 in the morning every night."
9 p.m. Okay.
Yes. So, if you would like to try asking me questions again, that's perfectly fine. I am available for your needs. Well, I am available for Click's needs. Click's needs involve having someone like me to talk to people like you.
He's available every night.
Yes.
Does he look like a vampire?
Click has multiple representatives. We work in shifts.
So how do we know who to talk to? Do you all wear something?
Me. You talk to me and only me.
Oh, I thought you meant you were working in shifts.
We do work in shifts. I work the 9 to 3 a.m. shift.
I'm still
Fair.
sitting there frozen. Since if I remember correctly, I was like that for an hour.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, you were in brain hell. I forgot.
Yes,
Oh,
your
dear.
entire body
Brain
stopped.
purgatory. Limbo, maybe.
I'm going to put some moss on Cylindra.
Some of it begins to take root.
Where on Solandra?
That's my voice. Let's just call it right middle of the back where she can't reach.
Okay, all right. So, what would you guys like to do?
So we still got to look for. So we got to fill out the paperwork for this incident. We have to chase down the fucker that got away, because I apparently needed to go back, and we need to look for the hand mirror of
Rich lady.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember the Orzhov.
Okay. Did that sound like murder to anyone else?
A little bit.
Who's
That was actually
being
just
killed?
very upset.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh.
Yeah, that also. Rain, is everything okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
normal 6-year-old behavior.
No. I remember. I remembered. Yeah, I'm fine with it. There's a reason I teach seniors. Although they make plenty of noises too. Anywho. So you guys have your goals. You also, who's got the, Solendra's Televox starts crackling.
I just reach over and press whatever button I need to turn it on because she's frozen.
Hello, is anyone there?
Yes.
Ah, good. You've received a package from the Orzhov. It is person-sized.
Ah, that'll be the chambermaid.
I see. Where should it go? In the mortuary?
Most likely.
Autopsy room?
We're not gonna
Observation
put it in
chamber?
interrogation.
We could put it in interrogation. Where would you like to inspect it?
Which one of those is I'm presuming I would know which one of those is the most secure, like, with the biggest locks on the doors and such.
They're all fairly secure, as you have to go through me to get to any of them.
No, that was out of character. That
Oh.
wasn't in character. I'm not asking. I would know, having been in the station and seen.
Yeah. They're all equally accessible. Once you're inside, you're pretty much inside.
Okay. I'm going to call the difference and say the observation room will suffice.
Excellent. I will notify Trevor and the rest of the hit squad.
Don't
I
let them
suggest-
hook it up to electricity.
I suggest they don't unwrap it before we arrive.
Strictly hands off. Understood. How is your investigation going?
It's been informative.
Good. Any leads on what happened? Well, I apologize. Can you please report to me what happened with the goblins, the fire?
Grease
It
elemental.
It was a grease elemental.
Summoned by someone believed to be masquerading as one of the goblins.
We've been picking up reports from some of the local guardhouses across the city that there have been a lot of similar sort of incidents. People who are starting a fuss and then nowhere to be found. It seems to be, if not a pattern, certainly a repeated behavior.
That is the definition of a pattern.
There's no clear rhyme or reason to it, is what I mean.
Ah,
The,
apologies.
the incidents themselves are different. They happen in different places. But we're finding that there are a number of these where something happens that is large enough to merit an emergency response. And by the time the issue has been dealt with, no one who was there at the beginning of it is still around.
That is concerning.
Yes.
May we have copies of those reports from the guardhouses?
The guards in the Boros Guild don't do a lot of paperwork. If you want first-hand accounts, I suggest you check out a few. I will write up a list of some of the repeat offenders and have it waiting for you here.
That would be helpful, thank you.
Is it? I have a question.
Yeah.
When we did character creation, we followed the steps in the Ravnica book.
Yeah.
It has you roll for contacts both in and out of your guild.
Sure.
Do we have those contacts?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I have a Boros contact.
yeah, then you could call on that. Absolutely.
I do too.
Great.
That's my guild.
You have an inn. Is there anything else that you've found since we last checked in?
A manual to the vehicle.
Excellent.
We're trying to obtain permissions to keep it. The Izzet are protective of their proprietary information.
Yes, they made us sign something. A user license. User. EULA was the acronym. I do not recall all of the words involved, but we had to sign an agreement that essentially said that the item was ours to use indefinitely, but not ours to know anything about or to actually own or resell in any particular way.
That is standard.
I see. Anything else?
And Enfield just looks like to everyone, just kind of like a beat for each person, waiting to see if they have anything else. Skips over Solyndra, obviously. And when there's nothing forthcoming, just turns back to the telebox. No, I don't believe so.
Excellent, thank you. Oh, one last question. This chambermaid you said it was. Should I strap it down, or is that not necessary? It's coming from the Orzhov, so I'm not certain.
Is it contained in a box, or are they sending it au naturel?
Neither. It is wrapped in a fine linen cloth.
Containment couldn't hurt. I would suggest just locking it in the observation room.
Excellent.
Straps may be unnecessary at this point.
It will be ready for your arrival. Happy hunter.
Thank you, sir.
And then you hear like the double click tone that says that they're off the line.
And I'll reach over and just do the click that stops whatever screeching noise that thing is making, because radios.
It stops.
I'm going to poke Solyndra.
Solyndra is beginning to come out of it. Solyndra, you can now move any two fingers that you feel a need to move. They can be on the same hand or on a different, but you cannot move your arm to do that. So you can stick your middle finger up, but you can't actually move the arm to do it.
You're muted. Oh, so was I.
No,
Leave
you
that
weren't.
one finger out.
Okay.
Till I can move more. That's the one finger. Hopefully aiming in Granny's general direction.
Sure.
So down.
What would you guys like to do now?
I'm going to just attempt to lift Solyndra up and put her in the back of the car.
Surprisingly light, despite being so rigid.
Yep. Does she? This is going to sound so bad. With the frozen that she is she posable, or is she just like stiff as a board?
No. You could move Solyndra a bit like an action figure.
Okay, in which case I'm going to like sit her in the back of the car and bend her knees so she's sitting properly.
Sure.
You know.
Solyndra, every time that Enfield moves you is pure agony. The pins and needles sensation is ratcheted up 1,000-fold. But on the plus side, the pain has managed to cut through a little bit, and now you are capable of blinking.
I'm also just going to just fold that finger back in.
Being
Is that
Asian fans.
necessary in your condition? And just fold it back in again. Fine.
I'm gonna go and climb up next to Solyndra and just start doing weird ass poses.
I'm just going to take Granny Mivix into the front of the car with me. Nope.
Just grab the goblin like under your arm. Come on.
Yep.
Okay.
Is
my coffin
Dwyer?
and
Dwyer's not with us, is he? No. Okay.
no. Dwyer.
Just checking.
Dwyer actually will join you shortly. Dwyer has been sent by the chief, so I'll sort of cut back. This is going to be real fast and kind of ugly, and I'm sorry about that. But essentially, Dwyer, you are back at the base. You're doing some paperwork because there's a lot of paperwork, and you like to make sure that all of it is as complete as possible.
And then some.
Yes, and the sergeant comes in and says, Dwyer, the team has apparently progressed quite a bit since you last were with them. My suspicion is that they have more paperwork they should be filling out. Could you please join them to assist?
Understood.
Thank you. Yeah. And so you'll be given like some coin or whatever to hitch a ride to get over to where they are. And
Perfect.
poof, you're there. Ba-da-da-da. So Dwyer is now unseen. Dwyer gets out of a car to then hop into a car. What would you guys like to do?
Flip off Granny.
And Enfield's plan was just to get the incapacitated one and Granny back to base to look at the package that is apparently arriving. But now that Dwyer's here, it's a case of, looking to Dwyer and seeing if there's anything else that has come up or they should be doing. Just because new information has arrived, maybe, or new person anyway.
Have you all been keeping up with your paperwork?
I'm going to politely ignore that and push the green button 3 times to unlock it.
The car is unlocked.
I'll take that as a no. Very well. I'll do it for you. Give me your notes.
I'm going to hit one of the buttons that we don't know anything about yet.
I will just put my arm down across Granny Mivix, like soccer momming. Just like, no. And with my other hand, I will hand over my little neatly, written in triplicate notebook.
So, where are you headed? Back to base or somewhere else?
Well, the body's back at base, so...
Back to base.
Yeah.
Who's meowing?
Yeah.
That is Amelia, who is pissed that I've closed the door.
How dare you?
I know.
Is she the one who
Yes.
Piddled.
Yes.
She's the piddler.
Which is why she's not allowed in, because I'm annoyed with her. Although, now she's being loud and disruptive, so I might let her in anyway. Which is really just rewarding bad behavior.
You're a teacher. You should be used to that.
Rewarding bad behavior? Super used to it. I do it all the time.
Also, just as a side note, on our way back, Granny's just going to be screaming out of the way, out of the way, out of the way. It's going to just turn into this droning siren.
We have a noise that it makes
I'll
a
hold up
noise.
my torch and start going like this.
Dwyer
Enfield's-
reaches over and cleans the moss off of Solyndra.
She's not a fan of how she got up here, but she'll be
No.
happy that she's up here.
Solendra's sitting back in the vehicle. You can't
Yeah, I'm
see
in the
the
back.
moss.
I'm in the
No,
back.
But the
Yeah,
moss
she's
is
in the
on
back.
Solindra's back.
She's got her back to the back of the seat. You can't see
I
the
guess-
moss.
I guess I was picturing that, like, if you're super stiff in a car, that you kind of get jostled around, and then, like, so Dwyer would have to, like, hold
Oh,
and
yeah.
help.
Slender,
And then,
you can move.
Like, if it's, like, right here,
Yeah, that makes
you're like,
sense,
what is
actually.
this?
Yeah.
With
That's
a
how-
with a sort of a wave of sudden euphoria, you realize that your body no longer feels much of anything. Your nerves have been just so heavily overstimulated for the last hour that you are now in the opposite state. You are somewhat deadened. You can move yourself, but you find it difficult. You register pressure, but not fine sensation. For what it's worth, this is semi-beneficial to you in the form of 2 temporary hit points to represent the extra toughness that you have
From not feeling anything.
from not feeling anything.
But also be extra careful because even just walking, you can break your own foot.
Mm-hmm.
Is Dwyer sitting like right next to me?
Yes.
Can I just like curl up and like lay my head on Dwyer's lap, going like, "Fuck."
Does this car have a rear view mirror?
Yes, it does.
Okay, Enfield is just looking like, where is Solandra? Where did she go?
Nowhere?
Oh, okay. Yes, that's fine. Just keeps driving like it's the mother. Like, where did you go? Where did you? Oh, there you are.
Also,
Everything's quiet.
What?
Something must be wrong.
Yeah.
hi, Zed!
Hey, Portia. All right. So, you guys make it back to the base just fine. When you head to the back room, Trevor is wearing a white lab coat and large black rubber gloves. He is holding a bone saw in one hand and a candle with a little mirror behind it in the other. And he says, "Well, I'm ready. Are you?"
For what? We don't know what we're doing yet.
"Well, it's from the Orzhov. It's probably a body. Looks body-sized, roughly body-shaped, roughly body-smell. Well, that plus the rose oil that the lady uses to anoint all of her servants, apparently.
I can see why you're the head of your team.
Thank you.
Very talented nose.
So, shall we begin, or would you like first cut?"
I'll look at him and be like, "Do you know of a priest that can speak with the dead?"
I do not know. No. I don't spend a lot of time in places of worship. Angrak should, he being of the Orzhov himself. Where is he?
Of course he's gone.
Oh
On
shit! Did we
Rockland.
leave him at the bar?
Well,
He had to make a call.
Of nature?
I didn't ask. It's not my purview.
I could check with Evans.
Please do if you don't mind.
Yes.
Are we sure that it's dead?
We don't
It's worth a
know
shot.
anything. We haven't opened the package yet. Should we start there?
Is it like right in front of us?
Yes.
And he said that it was just covered in cloth.
Yes.
I'm gonna tap on that. Hello.
The cloth does not part because you're tapping on cloth, but you're definitely tapping on a body, on a person.
Are you awake?
Just gonna lift Granny Mivix a couple of feet back again.
There is initially no response, and then you hear a low moaning wheeze.
Okay, so we understand that you're gassy, but are you awake?
Perhaps unwrapping it might help.
Can I just take out my dagger and just cut open the cloth? Giving us a view of the face.
Can you... Yeah, I mean, the cloth is easy to remove. It is designed to come off. And it does. You pull the cloth, and you are now staring at what looks like a dead woman. To know more, you would need to examine. But she is wearing a similar outfit to what the rest of the servants at the lady's house were wearing.
I'm going to climb up onto the table, or whatever the body's on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to set myself basically so I'm above the face. I'm going to lean in super close.
Don't lick it.
And I'm going to say, this requires a forensic touch.
No.
And I'm just going to touch the cheek to check the consistency. To see if I can identify how long it's been dead.
Okay.
I'm actually going to use a forensic touch.
Yeah. Now, are you using a spell, or are you just using skills?
I'm just using skills.
Okay, so we're going to call that... is it still heal, or is it medicine?
It's medicine.
Medicine.
Okay, so we're going to call that a medicine test.
16.
16 is plenty good. Yeah, so this thing is quite dead. It has been dead long enough that it has passed through rigor mortis.
Okay. And
actually, I can very quickly look up how long does rigor mortis last.
Rigor like 12 hours, isn't it?
It starts at around 4 to 6 hours and ends at 48 to 60 hours after death.
That's a long time.
Well, but it's about right for the timeline.
Is it still wheezing at me?
So you notice that as, like, because she's on her back, as you sort of move her, she keeps moaning. I'll give this to you with your prior medicine check. That's not an entirely uncommon thing to have happen. When someone is dead, their lungs often still have some air in them, and just pushing or jostling them can cause it to escape through the vocal cords.
I'm sorry.
Please
Again,
don't play
it's a
it like
granny
an
move.
instrument.
I was about to push on the chest in rhythmic motions.
Dwyer would stop you.
For effect in the game, you get like one in, just to sort of show everyone what's going on. But you're the one who wanted Sirius. Rain.
Yeah, well, it's not that I wanted Sirius. It's that I saw a moment for a noir vibe, and I went with it.
Okay, fair enough.
This is Granny Mivix. I mean,
fair. So you push, and it moans. And you're about to push again when Dwyer was like, kind of like...
That's not proper.
you know I'm from the Golgari, right?
It's irrelevant.
I'm going.
Would you like me to treat it with Golgari respect?
No, I want you to treat it with respect because it's evidence.
Golgari respect, in my understanding, would be that you would slice it up and put it into a stew. Or perhaps grind it to a fine powder or paste and use it to grow.
I was just going to stick moss on it.
That seems unhelpful if we wish to learn anything from it.
Also, placing moss on it would contaminate the body. We would like to inspect it, would we not?
Yes, we would.
Isn't that what Granny was doing?
It was, but it doesn't sound like that's what Granny was going to continue doing.
I just asked a question.
And a fair question, then. I will return shortly. One moment. And Trevor leaves the room because he has to go talk to Evans like he said he would. So you guys are alone in the room with the body.
Can I identify how it was killed?
Yes. What is anyone else trying to do? Or are you all letting Granny take lead on this?
I'm going to go ahead and pull out one of the books we found on our way to the Goo Mage's lair and start reading up on the animal hybridization.
Hybridization?
Yes.
Mixing, animal mixing.
Okay. The book is filled with all kinds of wacky stuff. Give me an int check.
I'm on that 20. That's all I got.
Can you read?
What's that?
It's more, can you glean anything useful out of this collection of random nonsense?
One of 3. I started with 3.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of cool pictures in it, which is nice, but it just doesn't seem to really have anything, like, concrete to tell you. It shows a lot of images of, like sort of vivisected, like, animals, and seems to make sort of vague lip service towards, like, combining certain animals together, but doesn't explain the process or why you would put, like, a snail and a fish together, but not a snail and a frog. Stuff like that. Like, it shows you options without explaining anything.
If I find any cool photos, I'm just showing them to Dwyer. Like, look at this one. Hey, look at this one.
Yes, very nice, Cylindra.
Look at this one.
What is Dwyer doing during this?
So with his peripheral, he's making sure that Granny is staying relatively on task.
Mm-hmm.
He'll allow them their methods, but want to make sure that it's for a purpose.
Okay.
But I'd like to also investigate the books. He likes books and papers.
Okay,
more than
sure.
bodies.
Make an int check with not inspiration, with advantage, for given the fact that it's, you know, a fairly established part of your character at this point. And thank goodness for advantage. So you're getting the idea that the process of creating a Kraj or Chimera or any form of hybridized creature is both mechanical and magical. And also biological. For that matter. It requires initially splicing, then a certain amount of melding, and then a certain amount of breeding. And if done correctly, you can create a new creature that will breed true for several generations thereafter. Most Krajes are not capable of breeding. Even some of the more useful ones simply don't function that way. And so the true successes are few and far between.
Fascinating. Disgusting, but fascinating.
Shakes, Enfield, what are you doing right now?
Enfield is kind of looking at the body with a detached kind of, I have no idea what to do with any of this. It's very squishy. So is basically watching Granny Mivix in the hope of learning something from their approach, because they seem to know what they're doing, while also staying within arm's reach to make sure they don't put moss in it.
Okay.
But just, like med student kind of just watching someone else working, like, oh, right, so you do that. That seems right. Yeah.
A few things that Granny is actually gifted at.
The head bone is connected to the neck bone. Fascinating.
It's all news to Enfield. He doesn't have bones.
Yes, he has a chassis.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, Granny, it's to you for a moment. You've got the run of the place for a little bit while Trevor is out of the room.
So there's 3 main things that I was thinking about. 1 is to look for a cause of death. 2 is to look for defensive wounds. And 3 is to smell the gases coming out of the mouth to see if I detect a poison.
Ooh. Other than
That's
medicine,
right. I watch shows.
Other than medicine, do you have anything else that would factor into this roll?
Let's find out. Let's see.
Ideally, I'd like to just give you one roll and then we just talk our way through it.
I do not have investigation. Perception, nature.
What are your, personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws?
Sometimes I give voice to the whispers of the rot.
Okay. I'll maybe let that one help.
All of us are part of the cyclical march of nature. Which I guess would not apply.
No, but that first one does. I'm going to go ahead and say make a medicine check with advantage.
Hold on.
Okay.
15.
15's not bad. You're going to get most of it this way. Sorry, I'm just checking, trying to see exactly how much you get out of that. Okay. All right. She definitely has some slices on her forearms that suggest perhaps she was blocking a bladed weapon of some kind. She does not seem to exude any gases beyond just the standard air when you press. She does not have an obvious cause of death. You would hazard to suggest probably magical, since the only physical option would be asphyxiation. And if she is what the rest there were, she didn't need to breathe. Beyond, for allowing herself to be able to speak. So, probably not asphyxiated. So, something magical, but you're not seeing burns, acid, any markings of something particularly cold. No clear sign of what it was.
I'm seeing defensive wounds and no cause of death. Well, if there are defensive wounds, I'm going to go ahead and scrape under the nails.
Okay. Scraping under the nails, you actually do find some stuff there, which is a little weird because having seen the rest of the servants in the household, they were all pretty immaculately kept. So what you find is sort of a fine blue powder, glitter, very, very, very small amount of it, but an amount nonetheless. We're talking, individual grains of sand level of this blue stuff that you're finding under her fingernails.
As they go to do the scraping, almost without looking up from the book, Dwyer reaches in and grabs a sterile evidence container and hands it out. Use this.
I'll look slightly disappointed and close my coat that had all the bottles. And I'll tap it into the air.
Thank you.
Let's see, what else can we do?
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at this. Okay. All right. So you've got that. And it's about this time that Trevor comes back in, and he's leading a dour-looking elf with sort of a long, pinched face. Looks like he's just sucking on a lemon. He has white, pale white hair, very pale skin, dark purple eyes, and no sclera. Like it's all just a dark purple orb. And he is carrying some holy text or another in his arms, crossed like this, walking forward. He has a very long black robe that goes down to the floor, and you can see highly polished black boots as he walks. He does not shake square, go, Iesu Domine. This is not a wooden tablet. Like it's an actual like book that he's just carrying because it's heavy. And so this is Evans. Trevor points to him and says, right, well, this is Evans. He is not one of us, so do not presume that things he says or sees or hears are necessarily privileged, nor will they necessarily be private entirely. And as he says that, like, it seems like maybe there's some past there. However, he is trustworthy in matters of the dead. And so we have used him to consult a few times. You may ask him any number of questions, but he does request silence while he is performing his initial ritual. Granny Mivix, will you be able to handle that?
I'm going to ignore that question, but yes.
Enfield is going to slightly move towards Solyndra. Just like edging round.
So then they didn't ignore the question.
Out of character, I'm thinking, where's our Orzhov cleric with his contracts when we need him?
I know, right?
Right?
Moogs!
Feel better, we adore you.
We need you to sign this
We love
NDA
you.
before you start.
I'm going to put my book away. And is there a separate room that views into this one, or is it just this room?
There is a separate room that views into this one. You've been in it before.
Okay, I'm just making sure we're in the right
Yeah,
place.
because this is the room in which you watched them electrify whatever the little critters were, the bugs.
Okay. I'm going to look at Enfield and Granny and be like, Enfield, do you mind taking Granny to the other room?
Are you going as well?
When it comes to matters like this, I will not be myself.
And I just look at Granny. Granny,
Now am I supposed
Will
to
you be
ask
quiet?
questions from in there?
no, I'm asking if you can be quiet while the Evans does what Evans is going to do.
I mean, I have no reason to make noise.
But do you need one?
I look back at Solyndra and just be like, if you can stay, they can stay.
Yeah.
But I'll just move so that I'm probably going to end up equidistant between them, but I am preparing to cover their mouths with my hands, if
Dwyer,
necessary.
Makes eye contact with Enfield and kind of does a little nod and moves towards Solyndra, kind of like I can cover a mouth. You get one mouth, I'll get the other.
And
Enfield will just go stand next to Granny.
just to prove my point of chaos, I'm going to jump down from the table, so you'll hear a bunch of clattering from the bottles and stuff under my coat.
I'm just going to pick Granny up and just put her on my shoulder. Put them on my shoulder.
Evans sets his book down on the table near him, opens to a specific page, reads down carefully and silently. I see. I see. Okay. He then pulls out from underneath his robe a small wooden box. He sets the box on the table. He opens it up. He pulls out a red candle and lights it. The smoke burning off of the candle is equally as red and begins to fill the room. It smells of bergamot and sandalwood. He then grabs from the box a tiny stringed instrument, which he sets further down on the table, says some words under his breath, and the instrument enlarges. Enlarges? Is that a word? Embiggenates. Grows, thanks. Becomes... I just had a moment, okay? Sometimes I have them.
English teacher! For shame.
Not at work right now! And also, apparently, I'm angrily milking a cow!
This is the instrument embiggenating.
That poor cow.
Is it Ongrok? Is that where he went? Got it.
Is there only one?
Got it. Nailed it. That was a very good.
Oh no.
Ongrok was feeling a little tender. He needed to be milked.
This just
It was a call of nature.
boy cow, go cow, no.
That joke was utterly...
I don't pry into Ongrok's life.
Utterly.
Oh no. Oh god, my stomach hurts. I can't laugh. Ow.
Anywho, to attempt to get
So
back
it was
into
invigorating.
this beautiful scene I was trying to draw that I just ruined, but for a good cause. So the stringed instrument becomes full sized. You can now see that it is a harp. He picks up the harp and he begins to play, and he plays. It is a minor key. Almost a adagio. It's a fairly complex piece, but as he plays, the outline, your visual outline of the body on the table begins to blur. She becomes difficult to focus your vision on entirely. She is rippling and almost translucent at the edges, and she becomes sort of half physical and half ethereal. And he plays, it must be at least 20 minutes. And when he finally winds down the song, while the hum of the strings is still echoing in the air, he sets down the harp and looks to you and says, "You have 5 questions. She will not be able to provide complex answers. That is all I'm afraid I can do. She has been dead for a long time, and this is not her first death."
I'm going to get out a piece of paper. I'm going to write down my questions and kind of like pass it along. That way we can all get, hey, this is a good question versus someone just blurting it out and we waste them.
Sure.
So first question, I'm going to write down, pass it to everybody saying, were you the one that took the mirror? Just straight out.
And Enfield will like cross out and write, "Do you know who took the mirror?"
Dwyer like puts a check next to Enfield's and an X next to Solendra's.
I'll put a smiley
Oh.
demon face next to both of them.
Oh.
I'll just agree with Enfield and then ask it out
Oh.
loud.
Okay. Word it how you want to word it. Like, say it. Don't just say that you ask. Ask.
Okay. I'll hold it and go. Do you know who took the mirror?
Yes.
And then write down a piece of paper again. Was it one of the servants?
Enfield takes it again, crosses it out, and writes, "Who took the mirror?"
I was just about to say we weren't told we were limited to yes or no questions, right?
Correct. Just simple.
Okay. Yes, yes. Who took the mirror?
The men in blue. The men were blue. Blue.
I'll just write down, not for them, and put in like parentheses. That's the word. Pal. Simic? Question mark, just passing around, try and see if the others are thinking the same thing I am. Because
Again, I'm really sorry I can't remember this, but there's more guilds that have blue in them, right? Because I know it is blue and red.
Sure.
So
but,
it's-
so this could either be talking about a color identity, or it could be talking about a description. It could be, there could be lots of things this could be.
Yeah, that's pretty ambiguous.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
think of the name of the race. The
Simic hybrids.
Yeah. That
Or
are
do you mean the Vidalcan?
Valdokin. That's it.
I thought they were grey.
Uh,
Or are they blue?
No, they're blue typically. Trevor, the guy
Oh.
who's standing there, is Vidalcan. He is blue.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm thinking. They said they were blue.
Hmm.
Because
Wire writes down,
Yeah.
where is it now?
Enfield just writes, like, where is the mirror? And puts, like, a little arrow so that it interjects, where is the mirror now?
And then, like, holds it up. Any other?
I'm going to draw a picture of a leaf under it.
Where is the mirror now?
Gone. They killed me. Stabbed me with a sword that wasn't there. And left through a wall.
I'm wanting just big, like on the note paper, big. Goo Mage was blue. And just pass it around.
Wire, like, pat Cylindra on the head.
I'm also going to write down our ghost blue.
Enfield's just going to write underneath, no, and cross out that question.
I'm going to sulk for a minute.
Okay, so out of character, we've now asked 3 questions.
I'm going to write down how
Who took the
many.
mirror? Do you
how
know who
many
took
were
the
there?
mirror? Who took the mirror? Yeah, 3.
Okay.
I want to put a
Um,
check mark next to that one. Like, that's a good one. Figure out how many we're dealing with. If it was a solo mission or.
Because she said they, and
Mhm.
the context seems to imply that there was more than one.
Just adds, like, how many people took the mirror. Like, just clarifying.
Is that the question? Is someone asking?
So far it's just been written, and I was just giving
Okay.
it a moment to think.
Mm.
an alternative that could have a follow-up question is, did they belong to a guild? Because then we can ask which guild.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could also ask what race. 'Cause
Yeah, but there's races in every guild, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
There definitely can be.
I mean, obviously a lot of the guilds run heavily towards, but there's races in every guild.
it'd help narrow down what we're looking for, though.
You could ask Trevor. Trevor will interject. You could ask for a description.
Is that simple enough?
What did they look like? I mean, she's already told you that they were blue. She might be
What
able to
did
give
the
you more.
people who took the mirror look like? Written. That was written.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
did the people who took the mirror look like?
Enfield will do it like a little tick.
Okay, and then Dwyer will speak.
Okay.
What did the people who took the mirror look like?
Dogmen. Tall. Hands. Sharp nose. Blue. Metal. Skin.
Just to clarify, what was the first word there? Was it dark or dog?
Dark.
I heard dogmen.
I heard dogmen.
I heard dark.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know whether I was mishearing or...
Nope. You heard dogmen.
I heard
Dogmen.
dogmen.
Okay.
Like puppy.
Puppy men.
Puppy men.
Out of character, I refuse to believe that these are the villains. They are the goodest boys.
The best boys.
Okay.
They're good dogs, Brent.
You cannot rate them all 11 out of 10.
Okay, so we have one question left.
Dwyer wants to write, why did they take the mirror?
Well, we know there's a dead person in it, right?
We do. And like, he just wrote it, so feel free to change it, but. But like and this might have been hard for, and so he'll write a couple little notes too, like, last question, she may not know, could prove useful in finding it.
Enfield will nod
Like, pros and
slowly.
cons kind of list.
Yeah.
And Solyndra had written what were their names. Perhaps she had heard them address each other. That could be a question.
It's our last one.
It's a question of what could give us a better lead into finding it and what she's likely to know. Like
Exactly.
we gotta play the odds on that.
I still say house is going to be our best bet.
Guild.
Give us a
That can make
guild, then we can narrow it down from there. Because there can't be a lot of blue metal-skinned people.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think it's a good idea to ask why they'd want the mirror, because the chambermaid, being one of the only people who has access to her lady's vault of weird shit,
Could know more of its
might
uses,
actually know why she has a mirror with a dead person in it.
why people would want it.
Apart from, just rich people having weird stuff.
Yeah. So that was more what I was thinking, is
Mm.
that she might have already had previous knowledge of what the mirror could do, what people might want it for. She might have overheard them say something.
Yeah, because I'm pretty
If she
sure
was present.
I'm pretty sure Dogmen points us towards the Simic. Because Dogmen.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, the Simic also have a fairly high ratio of Velkadin.
Vidalcan? Yeah, they do.
Vidalcan. I was partially right. I got the first syllable.
You, in fact, got all the syllables, just a little.
So then Dwyer, I assume that they kind of were jotting notes back and forth. Dwyer kind of like circles an arrow back up to the question then of why did they take the mirror?
Mm.
The other questions seem to give us less information.
Yeah. Enfield is just like writing out variations on the question, like, tell us about the mirror. What do you know about the mirror? What is the mirror for? And just kind of
Why would people
spitballing.
want the mirror? Why would
What
people
is-
take the mirror?
What is the best semantic option?
I'm just going to take the paper and just quickly, like, hand scribble. Were you the only servant?
Were you the only witness? Dwyer
Mm.
changes. I kind of like that.
Because then we may have a living suspect. Change the. I'm a witness. I'm going to then, under it, little note. What's their name?
I don't think we can do because that's two questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I would agree.
You feel in your soul that is correct.
I feel so. There's a way that we can trick that.
We could say who else witnessed it.
Well,
Yeah.
sort of.
I think we're better off going for the mirror because a witness, even if there is one, is not going to be helpful. Remember the reception we had at the house? The Chamberlain was not helpful. He
What's
was
your
vague
idea, Rain?
and
Well,
sent
my
us a
idea
body.
was, what is the name of the other witness? Which, if they can't answer the name, that could mean there was no other witness.
Or they just don't know the person's name.
I still say if we should try to figure out if there's any living witnesses
So to speak.
that we can bring in under custody.
I reckon the mirror's our best bet because evidence doesn't lie. And people are evasive.
Dwyer's in that camp too. So puts like a
Should we
fancy
do check?
D next to that one as his vote.
I'm gonna just step back and
Yeah. Enfield will put an E next to the mirror question and then hold it out for Granny. Because if we're voting, it's voting.
And he's going to put a mushroom somewhere on the bottom of the page.
It's just a moment of looking at it
We did
Just
our
like-
best.
and then
We did our
handing the piece of paper to Solyndra.
so 2 votes for the mirror,
Yeah.
right?
Enfield isn't a people person. I mean, literally, they're not people person. So they will probably always go for, thing they can identify rather than person they can interrogate. Because people are confusing and they lie.
Dwyer agrees with many of those sentiments.
Hand up Dwyer, mainly because I zoned when you said the actual question. Handing it off of, here you go. Yeah, you guys got it. Sorry, I am distracted with,
Life things.
Yeah.
so I'm bouncing between.
Mm-hmm. You have
Mhm.
every reason to. Okay. So then I guess between Dwyer and Enfield, we had written down
Enfield had written down a huge
many,
amount
yes.
of
I know.
questions.
I'm trying to think of what our best
Yeah.
option would be.
Because we're asking about the mirror, but it's a question of what's going to get us the best answer. Because
Why
if it's
would-
just
Why would
Yeah.
someone want to steal the mirror?
Because
Yeah, I think.
What is the purpose of the mirror? What
Uh,
would the mirror be used for? Why did they take the mirror? I'm kind of in the camp of,
did they take anything else? No, they already said they did.
well,
Uh,
who knows if that was true or not.
what purpose could the mirror be put to? Sorry for the hanging.
Mhm.
Why did you assist?
The split infinitive. I think you're okay.
Yeah.
How dare you? Ambigonate.
I knew
Ambigonate.
I knew what I was doing and it was wrong, but it's past midnight.
I don't know, the whatever grammar society or whoever, back when I was in middle school, actually, said that splitting infinitives is no longer a problem.
No, I always thought it was okay so long as it wasn't in academic writing.
Am I the only one that when Cubit went ambigonate thought Doctor Who?
I haven't seen Doctor Who.
My brain isn't registering a reference.
Oh
Apologies.
no, I
Wow.
made Solyndra rip off her ears.
I've
Four
seen-
other
I've-
nerds all went, bah!
I've seen a lot of Doctor Who. But it's past midnight. I can't remember things.
Who did the Doctor go to war with?
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you now. Yep. Hey,
Exterminate.
I've danced with one. I should have remembered that.
De-escalate. That's us.
Enfield is going to take the piece of paper and go over to Evans and Trevor and just point at the selection of grammatical questions and kind of go,
What are you trying to actually find out? Evans, by the way, looks at it and just looks back at his candle. And what you can actually see is that the candle is nearly burned down. And he just looks at you and shrugs. But Trevor will say, "What are you actually trying to figure out? What do you want to know?"
we want to
motive
find the
for
best
here,
lead
what they
towards
would do with
actual
it.
evidence.
What would someone want to take the mirror to do?
I doubt the chambermaid would know the answer to that.
She was one of 3 people that had access to that particular item.
Yes, but she helped the lady dress herself, not to cast her dark magic.
Going to look at the others and go, maybe why they chose her instead of the other?
Dwyer circles the question about the guild then.
Yeah.
Guild might suffice. You could perhaps ask for more physical descriptors as well, or
How many of them were there? I did like that
would
one.
be useful. She has several times now referred to them as men, not man. So plural. There was at least 2.
Yeah, I'm going to just turn to them and go,
I'm going to write down on the note, what did they say?
Check mark. I like that one.
yeah, it's fine by me.
But then adds what did they say? What did the men who took the mirror say?
Enfield puts a little tick.
I just hand it off to Dwyer going, here you go, you can say it.
He hands it back.
No choice.
Hands it back.
Enfield just immediately just talks over them. What did the men who took the mirror say?
There is a pause. The candle begins to gutter and spark a little bit. Evans is looking from the candle to the body, from the candle to the body, plucks his strings, and the candle stabilizes momentarily as the corpse on the table says, "For Bolas."
I made just an intelligence
And the
check
candle goes out.
Hmm.
if I recognize that.
Sure, go ahead and make it.
What am I
Should we
making?
all?
Intelligence?
Yeah.
Anyone who feels like.
Make a what check?
Oh.
Sorry, I was thinking about something.
Intelligence.
Oh. Oh.
Oh my god.
You still did better than me.
I have a -1 and I nat 20'd.
Rain, you are certain you have never heard that name. Or sorry, Granny Mivix. 100% fucking certain. Lightning bolt of clarity. No one with that name have you ever heard of before.
Okay.
And you would know. And pretty much everyone else, actually. Like, you've not heard, this is not, you once, Solyndra, you once knew a guy, out in the wilds named Ballers, and Dwyer, you, used to, play a game with your friend as a little kid called, Balling, but none of
Dwyer
you...
never balled.
Okay, fine.
That's not true. Dwyer is baller, so you know.
Ooh.
Oh.
But no,
I'm just-
this isn't quite. This is new.
Out of character, I have a suspicion about what Trevor is.
About
Trevor?
what Trevor is?
Evans?
Evans. Yeah, Trevor's your.
Yeah, sorry, I got the names mixed up.
I got you.
Yeah. Trevor is our handy hacksaw.
Yeah, we like him.
Oh.
I do.
I'm going to turn to Evans and thank him for his help.
Evans bows, packs up his things, re-tinifies his harp.
Unambiguates.
Yes.
Did go with
Retight thighs.
And then packs up the rest. Holds his hand out to Trevor, who places a few coins in his palm. He closes his hand, clasps his book, and walks out the door.
Thank you for your services.
He does one of these on his way up.
And Enfield will kind of look at Trevor and then gesture to the body, because now it's time for people who like biology to do their thing. Who
Excellent.
have biology.
Time to cut it
And,
open.
And also does the same thing to Granny Mivix. Just like,
Trevor holds out a scalpel to Granny. Would you like the honor of the first cut?
Granny will smile super wide, grab the scalpel, climb back up onto the table, go over it for some. Again, this is just pure chaos, and I don't mean to be derailing, but is going to stab her in the thigh.
it's a cut.
And then just leave it there and climb back down off the table.
Trevor looks at
Is
it,
that forensically relevant?
looks at Granny, looks at the scalpel,
It's traditional.
sighs, grabs the scalpel, and begins getting to work.
Solyndra is going to, eyes bright open, grab Dwyer's hands, hold them together, and look at Dwyer. The
Solyndra.
book. Extra
Yes.
contact. Anti-M possessed me.
Yes.
These could be connected. Think about it.
I'm thinking.
we're thinking, or you told me we're talking about another person. Auntie M had a different contact.
Yes.
There's a powerful being trapped in this mirror. They were making preparations for something. That they said they needed more time. What
The
if
beings that possessed you were a conglomerate, not a single trapped individual.
But what would you do if one of your group got trapped separately?
Find them.
Just throwing ideas out here.
Indeed.
It would make sense who her extra contact would be.
It's worth writing in the report.
Do we know anything about person in mirror? Because I feel like we do, but it's like at the edge of my brain.
We knew that it was, or the lady of the house referred to it as like an older relative.
Yeah.
That had been
that's
cursed?
what it was.
I didn't write down a name if we were given a name for the person in the mirror.
No, I thought it was connected to her line of people.
Yes.
All I have written down about it is it's an ancient Orzhov spirit that is vengeful.
Yes. But I believe there was another statement made to reference that it was someone from her ancestry. Or at least I wrote it down.
Well, I mean, she's an Orzhov, so it would.
Are they all related?
If she has
No.
the last name of Orzhov, then she would be part of the main branch.
Karlov, actually, is the main branch.
I thought Orzhov was. Okay. In any case.
as in like Boris?
Yeah, except spelled slightly differently.
Okay.
Hang on. I have MTG Wiki.
Ooh.
I don't know what that means.
Magic of the Gathering Wikipedia.
That's logical.
Is Evans a grave singer?
Alice also.
But played up for dramatic effect.
Very nice of them.
Yeah, I, honest to God, cannot immediately tell you who the original is. Yeah. Because all these people have first names, not a lot of last names. Regardless, multi-thousand year prior relative.
That's basically what I had written down.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Why do I have albatross? Or... I don't know.
Is you're an albatross?
I'm writing right now. No, it's AB squiggle ODAT. I just remember the AB part.
I'm sorry.
I know.
AB squiggle?
Well, I'm writing pin, so I scratched out something.
AB
Maybe
Yeah.
what?
AB ODAT. All I remember was the AB part. I can't remember.
Obzedat. OBZEDAT.
So AB Swiggle.
Yes.
We got it. It's fine. Put that in the report.
AB squiggle.
The Obzedat.
A Z is basically a squiggle, just, a really, really defined one.
I am not a squiggle.
You as a letter are.
No, a Z, the thing that's at the end of the alphabet when you're from a normal country.
Oh, you are not from a normal country.
Gotcha.
Z. Oh.
So, by the way, any country that could find itself on the brink of accidentally leaving the EU because everyone was so snarky that they voted in a way that they thought was too ridiculous to be taken serious.
I'm sorry. How many of, who's in charge of your country right now?
I know,
Can we...
but I'm saying we learned it from watching you.
And we learnt it from watching the Greeks. It's not our fault. People forget that Grexit was a thing before we took 3 years.
Great. I mean, true.
That was a thing.
It was.
And there were loads of jokes about when we decided to do it, it would be called Brexit, because that's what everyone would be doing. And you know what? They were right.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Cries in passport. Okay, so anywho, the Obsidat, you guys would know because it was pretty big news at the time, actually, is the former ruling council of spirits of the Obsidat, or of the Orzhov Guild, rather. The Orzhov Church, sorry. They were deposed in a, some say violent, but others are quick to point out bloodless coup, as they are all ghosts, by a planeswalker named Kaya, who arrived here not that long ago, actually. It's only been a few months at the moment that she has been around and has been severely reining in some of the excesses at the higher end of the church. Where she came from, no one is certain. But the people of Ravnica are not entirely unaware of what a planeswalker is in general, though they, by and large, don't know much of the specifics. But Ravnica is a fairly popular location for planeswalkers to either originate from or to end up.
Yeah, like they know that Jace Belleron is a planeswalker.
Right, exactly. And Jace is the living guild pact. He's the glue that binds the guilds together. It is because of this other planeswalker named Jace that you guys have jobs right now.
Thanks, Jace.
Thanks. I love you all. That needs to be clipped.
Thanks, Jace.
So that's the Obsidat.
Was that goblin we were chasing a street ghost?
Was he a what?
A street ghost?
I don't know.
I'm looking back over my notes, and I'm seeing lots of similarities now.
That's a question that's difficult for me to answer out of character.
What is a street ghost? What? What?
It was something I made.
Oh,
It's one of their brain children.
One of
Oh,
Rain's, not mine. I didn't make it. Anyway, I will not answer that question, as it would be incriminating. Continue.
so that's a yes.
We don't
right?
have a Fifth Amendment. We don't have a Constitution.
Yeah, we do for the moment, anyway.
The Fifth Amendment
I
is
was-
the one that's in movies, right?
So the
I
Fifth
think it's
Amendment...
It's pleading the fifth.
The Fifth Amendment
Yeah.
is your right to...
Not self-incriminate.
Yes, to avoid self-incrimination. So you cannot be compelled under penalty of law to admit to a crime.
But so you can't confess to a crime.
You
No,
can.
You can.
But you cannot be threatened with legal punishment for not speaking.
So they can't say, if you don't tell us that you did this, we'll send you to jail.
It's too late for this. I'm sorry. I'm not following
That's
at all.
okay.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it. Basically, are you a witch? If you don't say you're a witch, we'll kill you.
then we know you are.
Yes.
Or we'll kill your children.
Yeah.
Not quite how it works, but it's fine.
Yeah. Anywho. So, he's cutting open the body. Okay, quick question. This is partially also for 5 rounds more. I need to know, is there anyone here who's, like, squeamish about,
Nothing.
potential descriptions of an autopsy in, semi-dry scientific tones?
I've been there. I did that.
I was in Throck's Warhammer campaign.
I've skinned rabbits. I'm fine.
Okay.
In university, my internship was at the body farm.
No.
I'd say you're fine with just giving a warning and saying I will signal when I'm done with the descriptor.
Sure,
I
sure.
actually know what the
Fine.
body farm is.
Totally
I can
out
tell
of
you
game.
later.
Did Throck tell you about the time that we toppled an entire walking city full of hundreds of millions of people and essentially juiced them like a fucking tomato press?
You pasted them.
Oh,
Sounds like very good pasting.
Created a river
Yeah.
of blood that ran around the planet. Anyway,
Oh,
Your
delicious.
alignment was neutral good, right?
well, it was Warhammer, so
So
Basically.
it was
Yeah.
yeah,
it was Warhammer.
yeah, it was heresy. Anywho,
oh,
so
Soylent Green is people.
it is though, but it's so good.
Oh.
I know I shouldn't. It goes right to my hips, but it's so good.
It came from their hips, so it,
and they
makes sense.
don't,
It would go straight to
and
yours.
those hips don't lie. And yes,
Mine do.
Exterminatus. Although I personally have always been a fan of adding, more blood for the blood gods and skulls to the skull throne.
Honestly, I think at this point we've given enough of a content warning about what's to come.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we're all fine.
So we should say that we're all gonna give a thumbs up when it's clear if they want to mute it.
Sure.
Mhm.
So he does the Y pattern across the torso, and he starts pulling open flaps, and he's tearing and slicing and cutting and moving things around.
Enfield would offer to be, the rib spreader because
Thank you.
they can
Yes.
they can just crack.
Excellent. That was marvelously done. And as he's working his way through, he's actually going over every layer very carefully. The inside of this person, by the way, so I should actually start. So on the outside, after he pulls off her clothes, you can actually see scars from a previous time this was done. And as he opens her up, you can see that the ribs don't even need a whole heck of a lot of work. They're fastened together with a fairly intricate series of bone and wooden shims that if you remove them, the rib cage opens almost as if it's on a hinge.
See, now I have a mental image of Enfield just popping something open like it has buttons.
A little. The inside has no organs. It is, it has some organs, but it's missing a few. Yeah.
I knew it. They took more than the mirror.
For example,
Enfield is asking Trevor to keep up a running commentary because he's not actually sure that this is altogether strange.
Yes, of course. I apologize. This is fairly standard, actually, for some of these more advanced Orzhov ritual servants. They like to personalize them. It is not at all rare, in fact, to find these sorts of servants packed with various incenses or other scented oils, perhaps. Sometimes with a small tube on the back, which can be refilled through the use of a funnel that allows the servant to vaporize scent through the air as they remind themselves to breathe repeatedly. Yes. Let me see here. Yes. So, for example, and he points to where her stomach would be. This is a cavity that one might use, for example, to hide some particularly precious memento, say. It looks like whatever used to be in here has been removed. The sack is now empty. that is not really entirely surprising. I would imagine that whatever was in here was removed before the body was sent to us. Continuing forward, we can see by the degradation of the skeletal structure that this is an old servant indeed. I would hazard to guess, at least 200 years in service. The Orzhov do make sure that debts are repaid. Yes, let me see further. Did you, by the way, out of character, did you guys tell Trevor about what you found while he was out getting Evans, or no? I don't think it came up.
I don't think so.
Okay. Interesting. Yes. So you can see along the esophageal lining a bit of, well, not a bit, actually, a fair amount of cauterization. It looks like she was burned, but from the inside, which is peculiar. I'm not entirely certain what spell one would use for that. It's almost as if a fireball or some similar spell were manifested inside of her to begin with, although not nearly as badly charred as that would also indicate. So I'm not certain if that is, in fact, the cause of death. Moving to the skull now.
As a look at him before you continue.
Yes.
What if, just theoretically, and this is not my expertise, what if they had swallowed a flammable liquid that was then caught on fire from the inside?
Highly possible, which on someone like her would not likely kill them, but certainly cause some damage, which could be explained by what we're seeing. Yes, very good, Cylindra. He heads to the back of her skull, and you guys really didn't have a chance to look for this, but he sort of hooks his finger up sort of at the base of her skull where it meets her neck, and he hooks it up under a small flap of skin, and he's digging his index finger into what seems to be a hole before he says, "Aha, found it." And you can just barely make out a click noise as the skull then opens in two halves, the plates pulling away, and you can see that they've been joined together with a series of dovetailed wooden additions on the inside of the skull.
And Enfield makes a very kind of curious, like, humming sound, because pretty sure their skull does the same thing.
This is not normal in biological life forms.
I don't know,
No,
I'm awful
no.
suspicious of those elves.
Of course not.
No.
More efficient, though.
Oh, certainly, if you have need to get inside. Here you go. And he just hands the, two halves of the head to Enfield. Now then, Well, inside the primary structure and housing, we find a standard brain, cerebral cortex, yes, and he's just he's using what looks almost like a single chopstick to kind of poke and prod and sort of gently move things around. Yes. Oh, interesting. She was killed, yes, with a severing. Some kind of spell to blink her out. Perhaps a power word or some kind of evil utterance. Yes. You can see, by the way, that her brain is bifurcated. This is not standard for something like this. Most of these maids or servants would still maintain the brain connections, but you can see along the stem where it's been cut, across the two hemispheres. Yes, this is not entirely unlike what can be done with even certain ethereal blade spells. Yes.
Such as a blade that could not be seen.
For example, yes. Highly surgical in nature. Yes. She never stood a chance, certainly. Whatever this was would have bypassed any defenses she would likely have been able to put up. Well, I'm afraid that without something more specific, you'll have to wait for my fully detailed report, which could take a few days as I slowly break down each and every different part of her down to its chemical and particle elements.
Did you find any blue glittery shit?
Blue glittery shit? Like what? Do you have an example?
Blue and glitter and...
Well, I didn't know I was looking for such a thing.
Inspector Granny, what did you do with the vial?
I misplaced it as I put it behind my back.
I'm going.
Mine, and I'll just pull it out.
Like this, for example.
Oh. Interesting. Let me see what I can do. And he takes he very carefully pulls out like a few tiny grains, and then he hands it back to you. And he takes the grains and he puts them in a solution, and then he swirls the solution around, and then he pours the solution into a little spray bottle thingy, it looks like a perfume mister, and he just starts spraying it over the body. And as he does so, you can see a number of little spots that start to sort of sparkle and glow just slightly. And he says, yes, there's some there, and there, and there, and there. And, And he leans over, and he pulls out from, he actually has to... I'm trying to think how best to word this. In her gut, where her stomach would be, he moves aside a sack and pulls a very small, about 2 inches long and maybe half an inch wide sliver of this material. So it's small. It's almost but it's like a shard. It's like a toothpick, but thicker. And he hands that.
Dwyer reaches out.
I'll look at Dwyer and go, "May I?" Or would I identify it?
You may.
And then
it makes a metallic tink noise as it hits the bottom of the vial.
All right. I'm gonna cast Identify on the...
Okay. Okay. Give yourself advantage on the roll, I believe is all Identify does anymore.
Touch an object. Learn its properties, how to use them.
Oh, okay. All right.
If it has any charges, any spells affecting it.
Now, is this for anything or only magical things?
Anything.
Anything.
So you can touch like a hammer and identify and...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay,
Hey,
cool.
a hammer.
It's literally the give me the piece of paper DM spell.
Okay, cool. Then it's both better and less interesting than it used to be. That's fine. So the name you don't get, but you get everything else about it. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. It is a hybrid between metal and glass. It is intensely strong, extremely sharp, very difficult to cast, requires an otherworldly amount of heat in order to shape it. And once its shape is set, it has both offensive capabilities in that it is extremely strong, and if made into a blade, for example, extraordinarily sharp. And defensive capabilities in that were it to be made into an armor of any sort, it protects you from not only magic, but also anti-magic. Or the absence of magic. It in fact, gives off a distinctly unmagical vibe. It is the least magical thing in the room. While at the same time having the feel of magic.
Wonder why she ate this.
And like
Says Granny, I understand that she was stabbed, but
I do not believe she ingested this.
like where in the
Well, there were no stab wounds on her. There is no entry. I believe Granny may be correct. I think perhaps she did ingest this.
Maybe not willingly, then.
could it possibly
Have caused the burns?
It might have caused the burns. One moment. And he walks over to a tank. He reaches in and pulls out a... it's like a wriggling, fishy, frog-like creature. He sets it on the table and takes the shard... if I may.
hands over?
And presses the shard against the creature. And the creature begins, like its skin begins to bubble and slough away from the material. Oh dear. Here. By the way, I'm assuming that you weren't holding it in your bare hands at any point. That you all had gloves on.
Dwyer always wears gloves.
Yeah, I know that. Solyndra, you had it, and I assumed.
I was going to ask for Dwyer's handkerchief.
Yeah, I was about to offer it.
Right. So because I assumed that you
Dwyer
were
doesn't
wearing
like
gloves at the time.
Skin contact with mysterious things anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, because otherwise it would have happened to you, and I just fucking forgot to mention that before now.
No, I would have. I didn't want to touch it until I knew what it was, so I could even have mage hand and cast it through that if needed.
So he hands the material back to you and says, "Well, that is unusual."
probably a good thing I didn't lick the science.
Yes, very good thing. I have never seen anything like that. I don't really know what to do.
I'm going to just look at him. Once we're done with this, do you think we would be able to make it into a blade or an edge of a blade?
I don't think that there's enough here, nor do I think that I have anything in this precinct house, at the very least, that would ever be able to get hot enough to make that into something.
I didn't know if we could coat a blade.
You'd be...
Not like the full, but just the edge.
I understand your intent. I'm not certain, I guess, is the answer.
Okay.
If you could perhaps help me find something hotter than Niv Mizzet's flame, then perhaps. But otherwise, I'm not
Out
certain.
of character. Where's Ongruk?
I know, right?
Could it have been forged in Rakdos fires?
Potentially. Potentially. I don't actually know how hot he or his kind can get. But it's...
I mean, according to some people I talked to in a bar, it's very good looking.
Yes, well, and he may be, but as far as forging something like this, I'm not certain if it even can be done without the use of some sort of extraplanar entity. Much to investigate. You may take this with you. I have the trace amounts found elsewhere to analyze. It may aid you in attempting to find more of its like. So, any other questions before I begin dismantling this?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and thumbs up to anyone who was watching and waiting for the autopsy to end. The autopsy is now over.
Are we milking again?
I go to my desk. I
Sure.
want to cast Mage Hand
Okay.
and try to pick up the piece.
Okay.
And I still have the Sharkdo Crab tooth. I want to see what happens if I place it. Like, will it bore a hole through something that's already deceased? Or if it's just living?
Interesting. That's a fair question that I had not determined an answer for.
If it was still
I mean, I'm
working
turning
on
this
deceased,
into a necklace anyway, so I needed
Sure.
a hole. But
I'm
if
thinking.
it would still work through deceased flesh, would it have stayed inside of?
Yeah,
Mhm.
see, that's the
Her?
thing. I think it does not burn a hole through the tooth.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Trevor turns back around and starts. He starts humming to himself. He pulls out a clipboard, slaps a spanking fresh, clean autopsy report onto it, and begins checking off boxes as he hums to the rhythm of his box checking.
I was really hoping he was going to start humming Staying Alive.
Yes, but you see, that would be a reference to something in this world.
There could have been a similar song.
No, there could have, and also
We have a car.
Newspapers.
you, and also you. Well, a car is not nearly as like crazy for Ravnica as you might think. But I did give you anti-M's, whatever the fuck. So I have no room to.
and flashlights and
Yeah.
The flashlight's also not far off. Everything is well within.
Walkie-talkie?
It's a televox.
sending stones.
Yeah,
Sending stones are a thing.
nearly all of this.
Technology is more
Almost
readily
make a
accessible
scritchy noise.
rather than a specific piece of content created.
Yes, I understand. Anyway, so, but like he doesn't have an iPod, for example.
Shucks.
Okay,
Yet.
I am going to say it's 8 o'clock. I don't want us to end super early, except that we are minus a cow, and we are very soon to be minus a shakes. Because
I'm gonna literally head desk any minute.
Shakespeare is dying. So I think that it makes sense for us to end a bit early this evening, in order to keep our players alive and ready for more next game, when hopefully we will have the whole crew here. So let me just send a thing. So please do check back in with the channel later on this evening at I want to say 9:30, I believe, is when our one-shot game happens. And while I do not know what tonight's one-shot is, every one of them has been great. Or no, I think this is
It's Mictum.
Yeah, this is Mictum tonight. That's right, I forgot. So it's not a one-shot, it is a 4-shot. It is a mini run of Mictum, which is a game that I know very, very little about, aside from the fact that it is similar to Mouse Guard. There are tiny critters and creatures and woodland thingies bounding about, and it's cute, etc. Beyond that, I'm just taking a quick... Oh, hey! Devil's Luck Gaming is running something right now. Oh, Conry is playing something. Straticus is also playing.
I have good news for the internet.
And my goodness, there's a Porsche behind me. Oh no!
My stitches are out!
Actually, Portia has a bit of an announcement and would like to say some words.
Let's see if I can remember my script. Hello!
Hello.
So I'm trying to get in the box. My name is Portia. I am wife to Zed. We are both teachers. We do stuff. I currently am working with my students to do a science and engineering fair. And we're running into the issue of my students all have these cool ideas, but we don't have the funding necessary to get them all of their materials. So I'm doing a fundraiser on GoFundMe. I know that Zed is trying to get it into the chat. I've already had some donations from mentioning this during the wrap-up, so thank you people who have donated before. Still trying to get some more money for the materials that our students are requesting. So if you have the ability to donate, that would be amazing. That would be phenomenal. If you don't have the ability to donate, maybe share the campaign, let other people know about it. That would be really cool and helpful, since we are trying to get our students entered into our, what's called the NEOCEF Science and Engineering Fair. The Northeast Ohio Science and Engineering Fair that then goes up to the International Science and Engineering Fair. But if the students don't have the materials, it's really hard for them to do. So, if you could donate, that'd be cool.
For science!
For science. Thanks. I'm gonna go celebrate my stitches being out now. Bye!
Yay, bye! Alright. So otherwise, I would like to say a lovely thank you to our various sponsors. Rue Inc., Cool Stuff, or, yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr.
Rue Inc.,
Schmidt.
Cool Stuff Inc., So Nerdware, and of course, Roll20. And if we could briefly go around and chat about... Sorry, I apologize. I was responding to someone and I'm not a very good multitasker. If we could briefly go around and chat about who we are and what we do, that would be super cool. And if you had a favorite moment from tonight's game, great. But it was short, so I will not be offended if you can't think of something. Let's go ahead and start with Shakespeare while they are conscious.
Yes. Hi, I'm Shakespeare. That's distracting now. I'm Shakespeare. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shakespeare. All of the other games I play in on my Twitter. I play in a game before this one over on Holotale's channel, which is Mistborn, which is a Saltmarsh, Ravenloft, we're all pirates and insane kind of thing. I also play on Thursdays on Encounter Roleplay, where we're playing Unhallowed Metropolis, which is a gothic Victorian adventure, and it's getting stressful. It's so much fun, but oh my goodness, people, it's becoming life or death now. It's so much fun. Favorite moment, definitely the autopsy. Just having to restrain members of the party and talking to a dead person while we discuss things via what I think is very aggressive post-it notes. Just like one on top of the other, constantly just... That was brilliant. You're all amazing.
Old text messaging.
Yep. You're all amazing. I'm sorry, only half my brain was here.
Ye old group chat.
A D&D version of Slack.
What's Slack?
I have no idea.
Discord for businesses.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Shakes. Cylindra. You're muted.
You're muted.
We're so aggressive about it.
You're muted.
I had it. Hi, I'm Nav. I play Cylindra. I'm just liking how we're slowly becoming an actual group of, okay, I'm not good at this. You do the thing.
We're actually deferring.
Right? We're actually becoming a party together.
Each other, unfortunately.
We're character growth.
Other than that, brain dead.
Excellent. Thank you. Are you in any other games? Did you mention that?
Not on here. I'm in a bunch of my own games that aren't streamed. So I am running a campaign that if anybody just wants to jump in, going, I don't know if I like D&D, hit me up. I will help you, walk you through your character creation. We can have you in for a session or two, see if you like it. Then you can say, I've tried it.
Cool. And you can do that, by the way, sending Navuti a message by hitting up our Discord. Boop,
Yeah.
by using the link there. Alrighty. Let's go to Rain.
Hi, I'm sick. I'm Rain Hayes, and you can find me on Twitter at RainGhost, surrounded by X's. You can also find me here on Fridays playing Masks for at least a few more episodes. And you can find me on Dungeon Masters Guild, where I have many products, including, I think, either one or two of which was used tonight. I think. I'm not sure.
Suspicions.
I have glanced at some things, but I also I am notoriously bad. So what I often do is I'll read through stuff and I'll go, that's cool, and then not really think about it again. And then later on, when I want something cool and dramatic, I'll just go with like whatever my deep well of forbidden lore coughs up at the time. And exactly which source I'm pulling from is somewhat difficult for me to determine.
Nebulous.
Yeah. So if I did, it's a love letter, I promise.
It did sound an awful lot like a grave singer.
Yeah, and I recall having read through that and thinking it was cool, so there's every likelihood that that was bouncing around in there.
For the record, grave singer is a bardic subclass that is available on DM's Guild.
I know. So yeah.
And bards are the best class, aren't they, Zed?
Oh, god damn it. Yes, they're the best class at sucking at most things. By the way, I do want to point out, Rain, if you would like to post a link to say your most, since I know that there is no like authors page on GM's Guild, but if you want to post a link to say like your most recent product or something like that in chat while you're in the game, that's always cool. So, who am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting someone. I feel like I'm overlooking someone who often, possibly due to their stature, is consistently overlooked.
This is how Zed dies and disappears, and we never hear from him again.
I do have access to industrial vats of sulfuric acid.
Yes, you do. No, I saved Qubit for last because it's been a while, I think, since I've given you the spotlight. So, Qubit, how was your game this evening, and what other things are you in? And please tell us about yourself.
It was great. So I'm Queeby, Qubit, Dwyer, all the fun things. Danger Grandma. That's me on Twitter, which is also at Queeby. which is also my Discord. Yes, perfect. The only thing that doesn't follow that is my Twitch, which is Cubity, because everything I always use was for some reason taken. I only stream this game, but I play a couple of real life games now. I got my start on Welcome Party RPG. So if you ever wanted to try D&D, you should join that handy little Discord right there. Yeah, and get yourself in a game. Like, I don't know, maybe a Curse of Strahd game that might start sometime. Anyway, so I've been gone for a little bit, so this game was really fun. I do like that now the characters are starting to learn each other's nuances. We almost can push each other's buttons a little bit better and a little bit more subtly. So, like, Granny and Dwyer don't have to openly butt heads for there to be some conflict there. That's always nice. Selendra and Dwyer, I think, are getting, like, a nice little bit of trust. And Dwyer is starting to respect Enfield. Portia will be happy. Appease the god.
Yay.
Yes.
So I think
respect my sentience.
So I think my favorite thing was just the character interactions as a whole.
Yeah, I thought we were getting pretty good, to be honest. I'm really liking the way it's shaken out. Obviously, things are always better when our beloved Moogs is here.
Yes.
But our happy bull is down for the count today, and it seems like a few of us are sort of on the way there anyway. So,
This is way late, but that when I rolled that nat 20, the image that happened in my head was like the math meme "Beautiful Mind" kind of storm of numbers, and then like a highly concentrated, and then not familiar.
I do not know that name.
Yeah, but I can say so with 100% certainty.
I have authority on the matter.
Yeah. Not only have I not heard that name, that's not a name.
I can absolutely tell you with 100% certainty what I do not know. And what I do not know is that name.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So, hi, I'm Zed, or Zedx, Zedecz, on Twitter. I am running this game. I'm playing in our Saturday Mouse Guard game, where I play Finn, the gruff mouse, gray fur, who's there to make the little mice get in line. And then that game is run by 4. Throck is in that game with me, as well as Connie O and Nero Fourier. And it is a lot of fun. I am also in, and that game is here on Welcome Party at 3:45 on Saturdays. Then I'm also over on Devil's Luck Gaming in a Shadowrun campaign run by Throckmorton with Foxbar of WTTP fame, as well as the Devil's Luck crew, Connery, Cassie, and Kevin. I don't know if it's coordinated that they all have cut names, but they do. But some are C's, so we're out of trouble there. Otherwise, and that game starts at gonna say 8 p.m. I'm pretty sure I'm right there. And Throck would yell at me if I by this point didn't get it right. Otherwise, we are here every Monday from 6 p.m. to 9-ish. I mean, it's 8:24. We're really only ending about a half hour to 45-ish minutes early.
If we draw this out long enough, I'm pretty sure that we'll see Shakespeare just fall over.
I thought about it. I thought about trying to be like, and another thing. But,
you will.
But no, I will be merciful. So thank you very much for watching. Please stick with us. We're going to spread the love and send our support over towards Devil's Luck Gaming, actually. Because although it helps if I do the command right.
He is playing a horror
Yeah,
game.
that would help.
Yeah, a lot of people are right now. Straticus is playing Dark Souls. Let me see. Did I do it right? I did it right. Woo! Alrighty.
Wow.
So, thank you very much. We love you all, and we'll see you next week.
Bye! Until we go away. Bye! Bye!
these aren't spirit fingers.